Um, Welcome to the live stream. So today's live stream is all about vintage Grand Seiko 7002, or like, I don't know, you can call it 7002. Amazing watch. So today it's all about Seiko 7002. It's going to be exciting content. So why I decided to do it this way, because I guess like the serious watch like this one deserves a proper review and proper like videos on details, like everything like that, right? But I'm actually quarantining today in Greece, so me and my wife, while we are in Greece, so we got this sickness that I can't name because this video will be demonetized. But basically, that's the sickness that everybody's getting. So we both got it, and now we are quarantining here, and we pretty much do nothing. So I thought I'm gonna do this live stream, and I'm quarantined. I have only one watch here with me. That's the amazing Seiko 7002 from 1995, and I thought, hey, let's just make a live stream. I don't know. Hopefully, my brain works. I'm getting over it. But yeah, if my brain doesn't work that well, please um, tell me, put me on point in chat, and ask questions that I should answer about this amazing watch. So I made list of things that I'm gonna be talking about. Yeah, my voice is like, what's happening with my voice? What the hell? But yeah, the watch is still cool. It doesn't matter the sickness. The watch is amazing. So I'm gonna start talking about these things, and yeah, let me know in chat. I don't know if anybody joined. But yeah, let me know in chat if you have any questions. So I want to start with kind of, so just basics, right? So this is vintage watch that Seiko was making in 80s until 1990, I want to say 7. And basically after that, this watch was replaced with Seiko SKX. But the big thing is like, why? So let's start with this. Why this watch is cool, right? So like, why we should care, and what's so special about this watch? And historically, this watch was cool before the SKX, because this watch appeared before that's the father of SKX. But for me to understand why this watch is cool, the coolness comes from SKX, and let me explain. So Seiko SKX, not his father, but Seiko SKX is amazing, iconic, professional watch, and like there's so many people wrote about it. There are like so many videos. This is just like one of the coolest and the most iconic watches ever created. Not this one, but SKX, right? And even like they were discontinued like some years ago, so the prices started climbing. But even with whatever they are selling at, like, I don't know, $300 right now, let's say it's $500, right? For if you can buy Seiko SKS for $500, that's like an unbelievable deal. Right, like there's nothing stands even close to the deal that you're getting for, like, let's say $500 if you are getting Seiko SKX. Like only some, like, I know, maybe some like modern Seikos can compete with it, but like they are not iconic, right? Maybe they can do the same as professional ISO certified Seiko SKX can do, but they are not as iconic, they are not as famous as SKXs. For example, so yesterday Hodinka released a new video about, there were a bunch of kind of watches in movies, and Seiko SKX is there because they were talking about this Robert Bradford's All Is Lost, and yeah, and Robert Bradford is using Seiko SKX in like the whole movie is about like one person, Robert Bradford, and the whole movie he's wearing that amazing Seiko SKX 009. So now, so I'm a big fan of SKX, as you can see. As you can see, I do own the SKX. Actually, I'm gonna be selling it. We're selling it. So if you want SKX, let me know. But for me, as a vintage collector, something was missing. So yes, SKX is discontinued. I think we have our first viewer. Welcome, whoever you are, welcome. So we are talking today. We are talking all about Seiko 7002, and we are started with the question why Seiko 7002 is cool, and I'm starting with SKX. So SKX is an amazing watch. So I was using SKX for swimming. That was my primary purpose for the SKX. For me was I used it for swimming. And while the watch is discontinued, and the watch is kind of old, but not really, it's still kind of a modern watch, right? And for me, as a vintage collector, I want to have everything vintage. So that's how I discovered the watch, which is almost exactly like Seiko SKX, right? So you're looking here, you probably cannot even say much different. You can say, okay, this is probably SKX. It's not. It's the father of SKX, is Seiko 7002. So I discovered the watch that is almost like Seiko SKX, but there are a lot of very small differences. And like the big thing for me was that this is a vintage watch, right? So I'm replacing my SKX with the vintage watch, which is almost like this, but the interesting thing about Seiko 7002 comparing to SKX is that there are many different things, there are many different small things how they are different. But in every single thing how 7002 is different from SKX, 7002 is better. So Seiko 7002 is a better watch than the iconic Seiko SKX, and it's vintage. So it's amazing. It's like I'm psyched. It's like amazing watch. I'm not going to go over all the differences between 7002 and SKX, but I would advise you. I made a very detailed video, so I would advise you to watch my video. Maybe it'll appear over here, or yeah, you can find it. Yeah, basically, so for example, if you can see the hour markers are rectangular instead of like in SKX they are round. This watch has actually Lume that fades. So this whole watch, I don't know, I'm not gonna go over everything, watch that video, but believe me, this watch is better than the legendary SKX. And yeah, I'm absolutely love Seiko 7002. Not that many people know about them just yet. So usually people either think about older Seiko divers, or they look into they know about SKX obviously, and that goes up in price every day like $1, right? Not like Rolex now. Now Rolex is going down in price, right? But while Rolex is going down in price, Seiko SKX is going up in price every day like $1. So so this watch Yeah, so it has like the same like slim case, kind of everything, but not that many people know about the watch, and that's my goal here. That's my goal as a watch collector. My goal as, I don't know if you can call me a YouTuber, to tell more people about this amazing watch. And again, like if you like Seiko SKX, this is better. This will wear and look exactly like Seiko SKX, but it's gonna be better. So okay, I blubbered too much about it. You probably now convinced. Now let me talk a little bit about this thing as modding. So the modding community inflicted a lot of damage to these watches. So they were so Seiko 7002 was like a normal mass-produced watch. They were making it for, I don't know, 12, 15 years. They were making it like normal mass-produced watch. They were like Rolex, right? And the same as Seiko SKX is like they made so many SKXs, right? But for some reason, like if you actually look to if you actually look to find 7002, it's going to be so hard for you to actually find good original 7002. And why? Because modding community almost destroyed so many of them. I don't want to say most of them, but so many of them. So you probably know that Seiko SKX is popular in modding community, like was popular and probably popular right now. But before the SKX, everybody was using 7002 for modding. And if you go to eBay, you can see, just type like Seiko 7002. There will be so many of these 7002 modded abominations. Like you would want to barf. There is some like fish inside of the hour hand. There is some like these like acid collars. It's like you see that mod, you want to cry. So right now it's very hard to find all original 7002 like this one, but you should. So now is the time that you should set up your alerts and you should actually start searching for these amazing watches, because you still can find them, but they become rare watches because like so many of them were destroyed by modding community, and they like you mod it and there's no coming back, right? The watch like original hands are lost, dial is lost, nobody's gonna like put anything back. So now 7002 is becoming rare watch, and it's a very cool watch. Get it? Okay, now let me talk a little bit about how to buy all original unmodded 7002. So I'm not gonna make a guide in this video, but Google how to buy Seiko 7002, and you're gonna find like one of the first results will be a guide in what you seek, very detailed guide. It's like huge guide. But so right now it's still the best guide that explains like how this, like what the dial should be, what the hands should be insert, what are the models, and so on. There are few minor mistakes in that guide, but basically that guide is what you should be using when you sorry when you're buying Seiko 7002. So there were actually two kind of generations of 7002. There was 150 meters 7002 that was much more common. Like they're all cool, so I'm not advising to one over another. There was this what I have some people call Gen 2, some people call it provisional. These are actually much more rare than normal 7002. Not that many of these were produced. So the main difference is that this is not 150 meters, but 200 meters diver. So it says on the dial in red text 200 meters. And this is what something very cool about this Gen 2 is that what I believe this is very first Seiko ISO certified diver. Not any 7002, but specifically this transitional Gen 2 200 meter diver. And another issue, another thing here is a bezel. So this has 120 click unidirectional bezel, but a normal 150 meters 7002 would have bidirectional 60 clicks, and it has different construction. It had this like ball that did like click, 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 but this Gen 2 has bezel more kind of, this bezel works more kind of like SKX is working. The only thing that is that the bezel insert is not SKX bezel insert, but that's more that's 7002 insert. That's different. Okay, let's talk about prices a little bit. So because nobody is really looking at these 7002s, the prices are not that high. I didn't check recently, so but maybe again, probably for the price of SKX, you can get 7002 plus the price of the service. Maybe not. So I know that about maybe a year ago, Spencer Klein. Hey, I have very first chat message. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I also hope that I'm gonna get better. So it's interesting. I'm seeing zero people, but I guess it's not zero people. I guess people are watching. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Thank you, guys. So please keep me in check and keep me on topic. The topic today is Seiko 7002. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about prices. So about a year ago, Spencer Klein was selling Seiko 7002, obviously serviced by him, for $500, and I think that's probably a reasonable price because it was like serviced by legendary Spencer Klein. So always, so when you buy 7002, you will need to service it. And by the way, if you buy older SKX, you probably also up for the service soon. So that's also you should keep in mind. Now, service for Seiko is a difficult topic, especially if you are in US. It's very hard to find watchmaker that has parts, right? So maybe you can find somebody who would take your Seiko to service, but he doesn't have parts. So watchmakers that have parts, they do exist in US. There are actually, I have a feeling that there is actually a good number of them in US, but the demand, they are all overwhelmed. So my 7002 was serviced by the guy who is not as popular as Spencer Klein. Like you probably never heard his name, but I actually had to wait 1 full year in his queue until he actually got to my watch. And yeah, he replaced parts that needed to be replaced. He did fantastic job. He did amazing job because all he does, he services Seikos, right? But yeah, in US it's hard. But I heard in Britain it's much easier. In Canada there is a good watchmaker. There are good watchmakers in Australia. So like if you're in US, just send it to somebody who you know. but yeah, so I was lucky. I paid something 100 something for the watch, below 200, and I spent 200 something on a service. So I did better than Space Spencer clients. So maybe like I spent 300 total, but it was I bought my watch more than a year ago, probably like 2 years ago. So it's probably they climbed a little bit. But yeah, like now, do yourself a favor. Start searching for these 7002s and get one for yourself. Uh, this is such a cool watch. They're not gonna be undiscovered for a long time. So yeah, so when you're buying them, use the guide that I told you on what you seek to make sure that what you're buying is all original, and that like everything is original and correct. There is no like modded parts, and before you buy it, know who will service your watch. And once it's original and serviced, like, oh my god, this is so cool, such a cool watch. So I'm gonna just start. I'm gonna keep talking. Uh, yeah, like I don't know, like for some reason, why it shows me 0 viewers, but people send me chats. I don't know. I don't know. So this video will be online after the live stream, so anybody can watch it and rewatch it. And please do me a favor, like just watch it like three times. No, don't do it. Okay, important thing, swimming, right? So there are a lot of people who have this dumb idea that vintage watches should not be taken anywhere near the water. So for me, my primary goal was to replace my SKX with with the vintage watch that I can swim with, right? So I serviced this watch. My watchmaker replaced all gaskets. After that, my watchmaker pressure tested it with his. He doesn't have very sophisticated pressure tester. I think he does. He goes to 60 meters or something. But he pressure tested it. It's all worked. After that, I pressure tested it again. With the kind of like Swiss watchmaker here in New York. He also pressure tested it all worked, and I'm successfully swimming it. I was swimming with this watch here in Greece, but yeah, I was swimming with this watch for so much in many different places. If you go search on my channel, you can see a video where I'm actually swimming with this watch in Miami Beach. Perfect. Like you shouldn't like that. There is like don't listen to stupid advices. Swim with your vintage watches that are designed for swimming, right? And obviously, like replace before you swim with your watch, replace your gaskets. It would be even better if you would do a full service. But even if you didn't do full service, replace all rubber gaskets and get your watch pressure tested. And probably again, like if you're gonna be swimming like me, so I'm gonna be living a lot in Miami, so I will be swimming a lot. I'm gonna be probably changing those gaskets maybe every like 2 years, maybe every 3 years. I'm gonna put a fresh new gasket. So there is case back gasket. So important thing about gaskets, by the way. So there are three gaskets here. So there is case back gasket, there is a crown gasket, and there is a crystal gasket. Yeah, crystal gasket is not a rubber gasket. It's made from a different material. Now for no, not crystal gasket. The bezel, this like clicking thing. Crystal has no gasket. So sorry, I'm confused. There are three gaskets. Okay, again, three gaskets. Case back gasket, rubber gasket, and a bezel gasket. So that bezel gasket is not for the purpose of keeping your watch dry. So it kind of improves this like clicking experience. It's like for some reason it's there, but basically that bezel gasket does not need to be replaced often, because if you have a good that bezel gasket in a good order, then that does nothing for waterproofing your watch. But the case back gasket is very important, and your crown gasket is very, very important. Despite that you have a screw-in crown, right? This is like a SKX has screw-in crown. This gasket over here is very, very important. So my goal, because I'm swimming often with this one, is to replace case back gasket and crown gasket very, very often. So like I'm thinking maybe every like 2-3 years, and I'm gonna be like obviously pressure testing it after I replace the after my watchmaker replace those gaskets. I'm not gonna be replacing them, and so that the Gen 2 uses the same gaskets as SKX, but Gen 1 is using a different gaskets. But for these gaskets, you can find them. Vintage Times Australia is actually making replacements for these gaskets, so you can buy them from his eBay shop. But make sure that you buy it from Vintage Times Australia. Don't buy from any like shady gasket supplier on eBay. Just like buy from that guy. Okay, so that's my advice to you. Okay, so we talked about prices, we talked about service swimming, versatility. This is important topic. So I will give you my opinion in terms how versatile Seiko 7002 is. And you can actually build your own opinion because you probably know how Seiko SKX wears, right? So this is the same size, the same look. It's pretty much the same watch. Oh, I forgot to say. So mine is Pepsi, right? So they come the same as SKX. They come in Pepsi or like black and white, right? So the watch is, so I have 6.25-inch wrist, and I, especially like for me as a vintage watch collector, right? This is a big watch. This is, I would call it a ginormous watch, right? So I wouldn't say that 7002 is good for your like everyday life. No, I know people who wear Seiko SKX. I actually had a coworker when I worked for Credit Suisse. He worked for Credit Suisse. And every day he was wearing black and white Seiko SKX on a standard stock Jubilee bracelet every day. And I mean, it's a cool watch, right? It's a cool watch. But in my opinion, it's a little bit too big. So like if you have a larger wrist, then maybe it would work. But and another thing, so a 7002 and both this and SKX, right? They look like diving equipment. That's actually a professional watch. It's not like you're like Rolex Submariner or anything like that. That by now, there is nothing Thule in Rolex Submariner, despite the name. Only people call it a name. Like Rolex Submariner, it looks like a piece of jewelry, and that's why, like you wear jewelry with anything, and it works. And hey, greetings from Mexico. I'm gonna be watching Formula One today. I hope Pirates wins. Okay, so yeah, the watch is a little bit big and a little bit like it's not an everyday watch, but where this watch shines is for swimming. This is so good. Like I swam, or not just like you're just going for the beach. You just go to the beach. You're gonna spend some time on the sun, like I don't know, have wine with your wife on the beach and go back home. That will work perfect, right? Also, and another thing, how this watch will work perfect, in my opinion, is if you, let's say you wear normal clothes, right? But you don't go to work, right? But you are somewhere near the water, right? So for example, like right now I'm spending a lot of time in Greece, and I'm spending a lot of time near body of water, right? So even if I'm not wearing any like swim shorts or anything, I wear like normal pants and like this, like t-shirt, right? But I wear my 7002, and like you have water in the background, and it all, it all looks good, it looks proper, and it doesn't, this watch doesn't look too big on my wrist anymore. This watch does not look out of place anymore. This is like, oh, okay, so like you're wearing the diving equipment on your wrist, right? And yes, here is the water, right? You wear like civilian clothes, but it's okay. So by the way, what I'm gonna do, I shot a bunch of footage of kind of like in the metal. Footage, what is it to wear this watch? So footage of me wearing this watch with like different clothes, different situations, like I'm having like dinner near the ocean and kind of like this. So that video is coming, but I need editing equipment, so probably when I'm back in US I'm gonna edit it, I'm gonna release it. So keep an eye for that video. But right now, so like I'm just expressing my opinions. You can feel free to absolutely disagree with me. But in my opinion, when you wear, and in that video that I'm gonna be making, you can see that like the watch works in all these like water, near to water environments. But again, if you are, I don't know, live somewhere in Norway and like on a mountain. Actually, shit, I don't know. Do they have mountains? It might, and you have a small wrist like I do. This might not be the best watch for that, but this watch really shines for swimming, beach, all these things. I have a comment, a very important comment from my viewer. You should definitely look at eBay, but dude, read that guide, right? And you will see, like you will see pictures on that guide how to buy Seiko 7002. You will see pictures of the original watches. They're gonna look something like that, right? And you will be like, oh my god, this watch is so beautiful. Oh, by the way, do you see the second hand? Do you see how smartly they made that second hand lollipop is at the end of the second hand, not stupidly like on a SKX on a counterbalance? Look at this. Oh my god, this is so cool. Yeah, like all original Seiko 700. It's so beautiful. But you go on eBay and you see all these like modded. You wanna barf, like they ruined watches. Like the modding community is ruining watches, and now they are ruining Seiko's SKXs. It's terrible. Anyway, amazing watch. So let's talk. I have very long list. I'm gonna be talking and talking. Okay, I don't know. So yeah, so I now my software says that at least somebody's watching. I don't know if Seiko Pope is watching. If Seiko Pope is watching, this will hurt his eyes. Seiko Pope, I'm so sorry. This is not a stock strap. This is incorrect strap for this watch. but hey, this is cool watch. It works with many different straps. Right? So this is actually Uncle Seiko's waffle strap. Uncle Seiko makes a lot of straps that look like real old Seiko straps that they used with the divers. Again, 7002 was not sold on a waffle strap, and Seiko never made a waffle strap in blue. So Seiko Popes eyes hurt. Sorry, man. But okay, so 002 was sold either on that black accordion Seiko strap. I forgot what it's called, Z4 something. You'll find it. I actually have original strap from the owners of this watch sold me the original strap, but I wouldn't use those old rubber straps because they can become brittle and they can break, so you can lose your watch. So and my rule is I'm a big fan of vintage straps. I wear a lot of vintage leather, but I never wear vintage rubber because I'm afraid to lose my watch. So the original watches were sold on that black strap. Also, the original watches were, I think they were sold on a bracelet, on a bracelet that's very similar, or maybe like even like one-to-one, like modern Seiko SKX Jubilee bracelet and Oyster bracelet. So what I'm not sure about is which one was actually used. So I have a catalog shot of, I have the catalog shot of, from Seiko catalog of this actually exact Gen 2. And in the catalog, this watch is shown on the Oyster, on the Seiko Oyster bracelet. So I don't know if Jubilee was used at that time or not, or they always used Oyster. But with these ones, that I do not know. Oh, by the way, one thing that I forgot to tell you, and yeah, that's what that guide doesn't tell you. So if you find Gen 2 or like transitional, how they call it, like this one, they did come. So most of them are actually black and white, but some of them are Pepsi. And I have actually on my Instagram, I have a shot of the Seiko catalog that shows 7002 200 meters Gen 2 7002 with the Pepsi bezel. So Pepsi is correct because even Spencer Klein. So I was asking a question to him, and Spencer Klein said, "Oh, I didn't know that those come in Pepsis. All watches that I saw were black and white. So so these Pepsis are more rare, but they do exist, and they are not fake. They are actually they were sold. I think they were sold in US, but maybe in some other countries too. So there is a proof that this watch is real, and I actually checked with legendary Seiko Pope, and he also confirmed that it's a real watch. Okay, so I have one more. I have several things to tell you about this amazing watch. Look at this. Look at this watch. This is so cool, and they are all cool. I'm not saying get Pepsi, not get black and white. I'm not saying get Gen 2, don't get Gen 1. They're amazing. They're all amazing in their own way. They all have like slight differences, but they're all amazing. What what I personally didn't like, there is this Seiko. You will see, like if you Google that guide how to buy 7002, you will find that there is 17002 that looks like nothing like this. It's all kind of in steel, and for some reason I don't like that. I think that one is in titanium, maybe. For some reason I don't like that watch. That's the only one. Maybe you will like it. That watch looks like nothing like 7002 that you expect. But all other variations I absolutely love. They're so cool, so beautiful. Okay, now the important thing. So the Lume on this watch is coming. So this is Prometheum Lume. Seiko used Prometheum a lot, and this is a radioactive Lume, and because it's radioactive, your watch will age. Now, what you should know about Prometheum is that's the safest radioactive Lume that you can find. So you know that radium has this like 1600 years 1600 years half-life. It's basically when the watch will be dangerous all the time. Don't click that one. Now, tritium is much more safer than radium. Tritium has 15 years or 17, I think 17.5 years, 17 and a half years half-life. And now, like when you look when those watches were created, they already passed several of those half-lives, and tritium is much less radioactive and dangerous to begin with, but now they also pass several of these like half-lives, so tritium is okay. Now promethium has 2.5 years half-life, so it's even safer than tritium. I still Okay, so now when you check your watch, if it's fake or not. So if I charge my watch with the light, I still see faint glowing. Not long. It's very faint and goes away quickly, but you can still see some glowing. Yeah. Now the very important thing that actually made me concerned about. So you can actually even see that in the catalog shots. For some reason, the lume on hands and on the bezel pip, it's much more bright. Right, you see it here. It's much more bright than the lume on the hour indices. Right, you can see it here. Now, if you like, you can say, oh, okay, it aged, right? Maybe it began with the same color and now it aged, right? But if you look at the catalog shots, it also kind of like the lume pip and hands are much more bright than the hour. I don't know why. That's like beyond me. And now when you the same thing you see in the darkness. So if you charge your watch and you go to a dark place, you will see that your hands and your lume pip, they glow much brighter than the rest of the dial, right? And like immediate thing that you want to think like, okay, this is replacement, right? Why this is not consistent, right? And that's actually a known thing for vintage watch collectors, that often there is this inconsistency, that the dial and hands they glow inconsistently, and that does not mean that the hands were replaced, or like whatever is glowing very bright. I mean, if it glows like super bright, then yes, it was a replacement. But if everything is kind of faded, but one is faded more than another thing, then that's actually a lot of vintage watches. They come like that, and nobody ever replaced anything in that watch. And this watch is a good, not just my watch, any 7002 is a good example of that. So I actually checked with Seiko Pope. Okay, why I'm coming back to Seiko Pope again and again. Seiko Pope probably has the sickest and the biggest collection of 7002s that I know. You should check out his Instagram, Seiko Pope. And another thing that Seiko Pope has, that's the guy who has the most knowledge about these watches. So if I want to ask something that I don't know, I always go to him. So he told me that all 7002s, they have this kind of phenomenon, or maybe it's not a phenomenon, right? That lume pip and hour and minute hands, they glow much more brighter than the rest than the rest of the dial. That's normal. That's correct. Don't be scared about that. Now, what modern watch collector get used to is that they go buy a Rolex, right? And they do this like UV thing, and now everything is perfect, right? Everything is like the same color. Everything glows the same shade of brightness, right? But why it glows the same shade of brightness? Because like the dealer that sold you that Rolex, or like the dealer before that dealer, they did a bunch of work on your Rolex. They actually wanted, they actually like the original Rolex was like shit, and they did all this like magic. So you would say, oh, this is like such a pristine condition. Look at this case. The champers are here. You know, he doesn't know that the dealer already did this recutting and repolishing of of the case. He put the champers. So right now it's much harder to find Rolex in bad condition than Rolex in good condition. All of them are pristine. All of them like perfect. But what's happening with honest watches like 7002, at least until they become like super expensive, right? If you buy everything original, right, you don't buy like replacement, like something that modern actually replaced, right, then you're gonna get an honest watch, and that's how it is. That's how the honest watch ages. And a lot of vintage watches, they age like that. They age inconsistently, and that's normal. Some watches they age consistently. There are a lot of watches that, yeah, the Lume on dial that matches Lume on hands and everything, but that depends on the watch. It doesn't mean that something was replaced. That's how it is. Okay, so that's on Prometheum. Oh, very cool thing. Oh my God, very cool. So once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it. So you think Seiko SKX has 4 o'clock crown, right? Wrong. 7002 has 4 o'clock crown. Okay, look here. I don't know if you can, hopefully you can see. So crown is perfectly aligned at 4 o'clock. Perfect. Look at this. Look at this. This is perfection. Okay, now either take a look at your SKX or Google pictures of SKX. Look how it's aligned there. So in SKS, it's actually 4:30 crown, not 4 o'clock crown, but 7002 actually has 4 o'clock crown. Interesting information. You didn't know, right? Very cool. This somehow relates to that SKX has a date, and this one only a date. There is some like reason why it is, but I'm telling you, like once you see the 4 o'clock, you can't unsee it. Now look at the SKX compared to that. Okay. Bezel insert. Okay, so the bezel inserts, that's again the thing which is commonly faked. I really like how it plays with colors. It goes. Yeah, I don't know if I will be able. Oh yeah, look. Yeah, I'm able to do it. It plays like from like super dark blue to like super light blue to almost gray, and this it ages also. So my red age to this like focaccia is so cool. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I don't know if SKX uses like different, maybe like material, like I guess material is the same aluminum, right? Maybe they use a different paint or something, or maybe just like my watch is very old. Maybe the previous owner used it in many wonderful adventures, and maybe it just aged this way. But I have SKX that I owned for how long I owned it, 3 years, maybe something like that. But I see no change on that bezel on my SKX, but this it is still this like bright red and this like dark blue, like nothing aged. But here, this is so cool. Look at this focaccia. Look at hold on. Yeah, I hope you can see it. This is so cool. And it plays with like the sun hits it at a different angle. It looks different. This is so cool. Anyway, I get yourself an original bezel. Look at that, how to buy 7002 guide. Make sure the bezel is original. That like in original bezels, that triangle, it kind of like almost like wraps around. It almost like doesn't end. Yeah, you probably don't see it here. It almost kind of doesn't end, but it kind of like goes under. But in fake bezels, it's not like that. And the Lume paper is different, like a bunch of things are different. But you get yourself an original, everything original, and the best. Okay, now there is one thing that I need to mention is the spring bars. And that actually impacts, it probably impacts any or like most Seiko divers. But these watches take 2.5 millimeter spring bars. These like fat boy, these like very, very fat spring bars. Now, what is special about those spring bars? Not that they are fat. What's special about them is that the tip of the spring bar, right? So like if this is a spring bar, that the tip of the spring bar that goes into your lug. In those like fat spring bars, the tip is 1.1 millimeter, right? The one that goes into the lug. Normal spring bars. So if you just go like buy normal strap and it comes with spring bars. For example, very, very common Barton quick release spring bars. Those are wrong for this watch. Don't use anything like that with this watch, because they have not 1.1 millimeter tips, but they have 0.8 millimeter tips. And what's happening is that tip, because it doesn't go into the lug very tightly, it starts wobbling there and it does damage. So my 7002 actually has, they wobble slightly. So yeah, seems like the owner did use wrong spring bars a little bit, maybe not that often, but maybe a little bit. But in my watch, it's not an issue. But yeah, if you use wrong spring bars for a long time, then yeah, it's gonna wobble. It's gonna create like damage there, and you can either lose your watch, or it's kind of, I don't know if you. I don't want to say it's unfixable, because like right now there are technology that would allow you to fix it, but it's gonna probably cost you more than the cost of the watch. Maybe not. I don't know. Just but again, don't do it. Get yourself these 2.5 millimeter spring bars that have correct thick tip. So that's important. Okay, so I think we should be ending because this is like, oh my god, 51 minutes. Oh my god, what's wrong with me? But yeah, this watch deserves it. This watch is so cool. It deserves it. Yeah, hopefully more people. Hopefully I will spread the news. Yeah, watch also Spencer Klein's videos. Why 7002 movement is so cool, and why Spencer Klein prefers 7002 movement to modern Seiko SKX movements. So he actually likes the very original when SKX came with A variation, but they discontinued A, and after they went to B, and SKXB was faulty, and after it's C. I mean, Spencer kind of doesn't hate C; he likes it, but that's what he loves. This is what he loves. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for kind words. Yeah, thank you guys for your comments. And as always, ending my videos, I wanna mention something which is much more important than our hobby, than our like this is like, you know, this is kind of not important, but the war is happening in Europe, very, very big war, the war which is this can become something like World War II. Yeah, so for people who know the language of the oppressor, нет войне, also Putin хуйло. If you don't know that language, repeat with me. Putin хуйло. And again, Putin хуйло. That's good. Remember that. And yeah, please support Ukraine. The only thing that can help and that can actually stop the aggression is army. Tell your governments to support Ukraine with pretty much heavy weapons. They need those like rockets. They need Heimers, they need tanks, they need anything. They need to stop. They need to stop it. That's like really, really bad. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. Sorry for such a bummer at the end. Okay, let me end it. Okay, bye, guys. Okay, yeah, now it's gonna okay. Now it's gonna be very fun. Andrew is stopping the live stream. Wait, how do I stop this? Are you sure you want to stop the stream? Yes, I want to stop the stream.